Ready?
Get your 3D tickets now.
Show me how to make thunder.
Experience the movie critics are saying is the best Avatar yet.
Sounds like a fun weekend.
It's a movie event
Check it out.
unlike any other.
The day has come.
See it on the biggest screen possible. Avatar Fire and Ash, rated PG-13, now playing.
Like Seibert Radio, we're about to start the show. We talk about stuff and things, lots of guests, in-depth interviewing. Like Seibert Radio, it's nobody's favorite show. Movies, comics, video games, and TV, and we also can guarantee that it's not gonna be that funny, but that's okay because the show is free. So crank the volume into your headphones. The podcast at last is starting. It's time for Mike Seibert Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Mike Seibert Radio. I am your host, and today, well, we return to the magnificent world of Pandora and our review of Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, I was not alone in my journey into the third dimension. Joining me now, while we're at work in the studio, he's the co-host of Stack of Dimes, which also includes You Blew It and 3D Never Die with yours truly. It's Camaro Kev, a.k.a. Thunder.
Yo.
How we doing, buddy?
I am all right.
All right. So 3 years ago, we learned the way of water. You know, it has no beginning and no end, just like this movie. But we have indeed returned to the Pacific Science Center in Seattle, into the third dimension to experience Avatar Fire and Ash. And I don't know, man. I think we keep going to these movies simply because you like 3D movies.
I do. I'm one of the rare weirdos who actually likes 3D movies. Yes.
So, and I like them okay. I think I like 3D movies more because I like hanging out with you than I like the 3D movies themselves.
I appreciate that.
But no, we've had some fun times in the third dimension, like the time that we went to go see that Predator movie after seeing another movie. Spent 5 hours in the movie theater just to go into the third dimension. Actually, we went to the fourth dimension that time with the rumble seats and whatnot.
We do some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this guy, James Cameron, it feels like at this point for me, and I don't know about you, but for me, it's really about the technology to see like what, what sort of CG graphics or what new effects that he has, planned and that sort of thing. So really at this point, I go in, I wasn't a fan of the first Avatar, the second one. They're fine. They're throwaway popcorn entertainment. But at least with those two, you had like it was breaking ground as far as special effects go. Even when you get to the second one, that one was, he was doing all sorts of different tricks now, and that the CG even looked even better and that sort of stuff. So I thought going into this one, he was gonna ratchet it up even further. But I don't know if there's anywhere else to go.
No, and I remember getting ready for this movie thinking, I'm like, you know what, buddy? He's got something up his sleeve. Something he's hiding, some new technological innovation that he's keeping under wraps, hasn't told us about. Turns out, no. It's just kind of more of the same. And these movies, I guess we should say at this point during our review, they are fine.
Yeah.
I don't think they're specifically bad, but I don't think they're particularly good. I have seen all of these movies exactly one time in the theater.
Yeah, same.
And there's probably a different discussion for another time that involves what even is a movie and what is suitable for theatrical exhibition versus watching at home. Because if you watch these movies at home, there's nothing there for you.
Yeah, you kind of need to go someplace with the big screen. And if you like 3D, the way he wants you to see all of these movies is on the biggest screen possible in 3D.
And that's exactly what we did. Much to the chagrin of some of our friends. I know over Christmas, I took a little bit of heat for the specific time that we went to go see the movie.
Yeah.
We saw opening night on Thursday at the Pacific Science Center in the Boeing IMAX Theater, the largest screen in the state, perfectly calibrated to James Cameron's specific specifications for 3D exhibition. And it's real IMAX in real laser 3D. And it is the ideal way to see the movie. And that, I don't know. I almost look at these Avatar movies, going to them like at the Science Center. It's something that's transcendent of just watching like a regular movie at like the multiplex. That's why I've not gone back to them, because the story is thin, the characters are weak. There really isn't anything there. It's all about that theatrical exhibition. I would almost compare it to I don't know, maybe like a Broadway show or something like that, to where it's like something that like exists in that moment in time and is not necessarily meant to be duplicated in other venues.
Yeah, it's carnival ride-esque.
Yeah.
Mixed with a movie, right? Like, as you say, like going to see it in that particular way is more of an event. And without that, watching it at home, there isn't, that event thing goes away. It doesn't matter if I've got a projector at home and I've got a 3D projector, whatever. It's not going to be the same. It's meant to be seen in a over-the-top, ridiculous kind of way. That's the way he's designed these movies to be.
Yeah. To the point where we're almost kind of embarrassed about it. Like, we were talking to some of our coworkers, and it's like, no, we'll tell you when we went to go see the Avatar movie, but swear you to secrecy.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, I don't know, it's thinking about it more, it's almost like how those old-timey people probably felt going to go see Gone in the Wind. Back in the way.
Gone with the Wind, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing, where it's like, oh, holy mackerel. It's like, a big theatrical exhibition experience, or maybe even like, how the West was won, like the old like 3-strip Cinerama, curved screen extravaganza, that kind of thing that kind of transcends whether the movie is good or not, because for that kind of experience, it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that being said, this movie is wafer thin, despite the stunning visuals and the technological achievements. There kind of isn't a lot here.
No, and like I said, technology-wise, it doesn't go beyond the last movie, I don't think, that I could tell.
Right. The only thing you get more of is that irritating high frame rate,
which is supposed to make it less blurry when it's in 3D, but ends up just making it look like a cheaply made TV show from the 90s.
Yeah, at best, or at worst, it. We just came off of Christmas. It looks like your in-laws' TV that has the motion smoothing turned on, or like, it's like I'm going to Best Buy and looking at the TVs and have like that motion blurring.
Why are they moving? Why does it move that way? I don't like that. That's everyone says when they go and see like a new fancy TV at like Best Buy.
Yeah,
because they have all these settings ramped up. But okay, besides that, like okay, that was maybe like one of the things, but. As far as the look of the movie, it looked the same as the last movie, as far as I could tell. And the plot was kind of... The movie ends with the same final... I was confused. For a second, I was like, have I seen this before? And I was like, well, yeah. The last movie...
3 years ago.
3 years ago, the ending of the last movie was pretty much the exact same ending of this movie.
Yeah.
And it was the first time where... everything just felt like I've seen it before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that way with those first two movies. The second one, it wasn't as, you kind of knew what you were getting into because you'd seen the first one already. But even then, still, there was enough time between that first one and second one that the second one is like, as far as, again, technology, it
such a leap.
Was so huge. It was such a leap. And again, you just forgave the story. Mm-hmm. This seems like he doesn't have much more story to tell.
Yeah.
He's recycling the story, and he's just kind of using the same technology that exists from the last movie. So really, it's not impressive really in any way.
Right. Not visually. And like, we spent so much of this review already talking about like the visuals, and when the visuals aren't that interesting, like, imagine going to go see Gone with the Wind and being like, it's shrug, it's fine. I kind of have that feeling when everything is super impressive, nothing is impressive. Now, there were some things that I did find weirdly compelling about this movie. It's weird.
It is a weird movie.
It is a strange, weird movie, and I think we learned a whole lot about what James Cameron is into more than I would have ever wanted.
Sure, yeah.
And for a movie called Fire and Ash, not a lot of fire. There's some fire, but not a whole lot of ash.
No.
But I do think it's interesting. You do kind of add a couple spokes to the wheel, where like you have like these fire tribe people that have like forsaken the ways and stuff, and some of that is kind of interesting. The lead villain is incredibly compelling.
Yeah,
steals the show basically.
Way over the top.
Yeah,
and
my dude Stephen Lang.
I was forgetting who the actor was. The guy who's been the bad guy, quote unquote, military bad guy from
Darth Vader of the saga, basically.
Yeah, from the other two movies. He's really unleashed in this one.
Yeah.
They just let him go wild. And then he's got this other crazy character, this female lead bad guy. Yeah. And the two of them together, they're just way over the top. And the stuff that they do is, I even said to you, I was like, I kind of think of these movies sometimes as kid-friendly or family-friendly movies.
Yeah.
But they're kind of not, because there's a lot of violence, even though it's all like video game violence. These are all not real humans in there.
Right.
But this one, there were some scenes where I'm like, this is nutty, man. And I don't know if kids should be watching some of this stuff.
Well, and they're doing like space drugs at one point. It's like, and there's like a weird like psychosexual element to it and stuff. Like I agree with you. It's like not really for the kids. I wonder if this is a movie for folks who were kids when that first movie came out in 2009, and now they've grown up to be able to handle it. But you're right, very surprisingly intense and more mature than you would think.
But I think also the way it was, like you're saying, there's some odd, wacky stuff in here that's just kind of like, what'd you say? Like, how would you explain it? I guess for me, it seems like they're in on the joke.
Yeah.
Somewhat. They know what they're doing, because there was a lot of laughs from this stuff, and I think it was intentional to be, there's some one-liners, and when some of the weirder, more bizarre stuff, there were one-liners tucked away in there that kind of said like, hey, we know that we're pushing it a little far. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But there were other moments that were supposed to be genuinely heartwarming or endearing, where the audience just kind of laughed because it was so corny and so over the top. They had and mixed with this other bizarre, weird stuff that you kind of just give up and just go like, this is just nutty, and like I can't take any of it seriously.
Well, I also think that that's a product of the runtime. At 3 hours and 17 minutes, you start getting really fussy, and I think as I start fidgeting in my seat, I'm finding spots to hang on to and stuff to laugh at, sometimes at inopportune times, not what the movie wants me to.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm kind of getting wiggly, kind of squirmy in my seat.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, all right, well.
Yeah, and you weren't the only one. Like I said, there was other mics throughout the theater that I would hear laughing at moments where I was like, I don't think that was supposed to be meant to be funny there. But like it and to your point, these movies, and I know he loves his long movies. James Cameron likes his long movies, but doesn't like intermissions. I honestly believe if you're going to go longer than, like, this is like 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm no spring chicken, but I'm not.
Sure.
I'm not that old. I like to get up and stretch my legs, because it gets very uncomfortable towards the end of that movie. You're like, come on, wrap this thing up. My knees are getting sore here. My back's not, I'm getting bed sores here. Can we wrap this thing up?
Yeah,
so.
Battlestar sciatica over there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a tough sit.
It is.
I do think it is, strangely enough, the funnest of the three. I think I like this one, strangely enough, because of how bizarre it is. like this one sits with me a little more than the other two. Like that second one just like water, just smooth brain just slips right off. But like, I think one of the criticisms of this series is that it has quote unquote no pop culture footprint. Like nobody really thinks about it, but you see like, memes and fan art and things like that. And those are kind of things that kind of show that it's crossed over a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still not super great. I don't know. Who would you recommend this to at a time where we were like trying to keep this secret about how like we chose not to watch the end of the Seahawks game, the pivotal one against the Rams, to go see this movie on opening night.
I thought we were going to talk about it. Now you do it on radio. You let everybody know. Who is this for? Who would I recommend to go see this? I don't know because the big hang up for me is it's a very long movie. It's a long movie. And so to tell somebody to go, hey, if you want to have some fun on the weekend and just want to go see a popcorn movie, it's not very fun.
Right.
It's way too long. Mm-hmm. There's not enough meat on the bone. I don't know how to recommend it. I don't know anybody who likes these movies. I'm not being, right. I mean, even, niece, nephews, I don't hear them talk about the Avatar movies. Right. I don't know anybody who likes these movies. They just accept that, it's one of those Avatar movies and we should probably go see it because it's going to be crazy and over the top. But you said that this is the one of the three that you think you've...
This one kind of sticks with me, only because like the villain turns.
Yeah. I think the first one is always going to be the one that if someone said, hey, you have to choose one of these movies to watch again and burn more of your life watching... I think I would pick the first one because it does move at a good clip.
Yep.
I think it's shorter. It's the shortest of all of them.
It's the shortest of the three. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Because I think
it's a half hour shorter than these last two.
And at that point, he still had something to prove. And I'm sure the studios were like, look, you can't go over 3 hours with this stuff. And then once he proved that, hey, this is the massive hit that it was, I think he's got a little bit left. He was a little more off the leash for the second and third one.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. There are some wacky moments that are worth watching, maybe again, just to see how goofy this third one is.
Yeah.
But really, if I come to it, that first one is always it lives up to the spectacle that it was supposed to be. I don't feel this 2 and 3 have not.
Absolutely.
And there's not much to revisit there for me.
And that's the other thing too. And so we'll see what happens in another few years. Maybe we'll get 2 more of these. Maybe we'll get no more of these. Maybe James Cameron will just hold a press conference and tell you what the secret of the ooze was or whatever the hell.
I will give him that in the last one, it ended with, okay, you kind of want to see what happens next. You get none of that. For me, you get none of that with this one. You just go, really? You're going to make another one of these? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, just stop. Just stop. And with that, we're just going to stop. And again, you can catch Camaro Kev on the Stack of Dimes podcast, which includes You Blew It and occasionally 3D Never Die. But I did want to circle back around to a few things we were discussing, as well as hit on a few things that we missed. Mainly, I think my biggest takeaway is that these movies take time to absorb. It's a hard sit, like we discussed, but I was really squirrely in my seat watching the movie, and when it ended, I was dumbstruck by what I was even going to say. If I had gone to a press screening, I don't even know what I would have told the nice lady with the clipboard. The reality is these movies are overwhelming, and they take time to digest. And I think that's the biggest problem, is just the 3+ hour runtime. Like, even if it was something like 2:45, it would be difficult to articulate. But I think at 3.5 hours, there's a certain degree of numbness that just kind of kicks in, and it just, I don't know, you just kind of absorb it rather than watch it or enjoy it. But now that I'm a few weeks removed from the experience. I've had time to let it, solidify in my mind as well as in my perception. I straight up did not like the movie watching it. But now that I've thought about it and talked about it, I've really kind of softened on it. And I still don't know if I specifically like it. And my more positive feeling doesn't necessarily make me want to go rewatch it. And I think, I don't know, I was going to say, I don't want to go rewatch this, but I do almost want to give the other two, the previous two, Avatar and The Way of Water, another go on the Disney Plus. You know, maybe divorced from the 3D IMAX spectacular of it, you know, and just watch it like a regular movie, what that would do to change my perception. Getting into a brief tangent, last year I saw Tron Ares, and I saw it in IMAX 3D. Ironically enough, again with Kevin, my buddy from work, and that experience made me enjoy it more. I later went to go see the movie with Lucky in a regular theater. She doesn't do 3D movies, and it was fascinating to see how different the movie felt to me. But prior to that, I had revisited Tron Legacy, which was also like a huge 3D movie. And this was 2010, kind of the year after Avatar kind of like reinvented and reinvigorated the appetite for 3D movies. And every time I've watched Tron Legacy, that's a movie I've always said that like I keep wanting to like it, that I keep willing myself to like it. And every time I'm disappointed by like how, pardon the pun, flat it is. But I've always watched it in 3D. You know, I've got a 3D TV at home and with a 3D Blu-ray, and it's a pain in the ass. Like I've got like these active shutter glasses that I've got to charge before I watch a 3D movie. So needless to say, I don't watch a whole lot of 3D movies, despite Camaro Kev's enthusiasm for the format. Like I've got Into the Spider-Verse still just sitting in the cellophane. I bought it from India like 3 years ago because that was the only place to get to buy that 3D Blu-ray. Anyway, it's a long way of saying I still have Dune, the new one, Dune Part 1 on 3D Blu-ray that Kevin lent me, still sitting on my shelf. It's been there for 18 months now. I'll get to it eventually, but again, it's an undertaking to like charge the glasses and stuff. Anyway, my point being is prior to Tron Ares, Disney Plus put out 4K restorations of both the original Tron as well as Tron Legacy. And those new versions ended up on the Disney Plus. So I did a double feature. I watched the two movies, watched it over 2 nights, had a blast with them. Tron holds up in a big bad way. The guys from Autopod Decepticast talked about it very recently, and Ryan had said, the how foreign the computer terms were of the day that are very commonplace now. So it doesn't necessarily have that same otherworldly texture that it may have back in 1982. But I finally clicked with Tron Legacy, and it was flat. It was restored in 4K. The transfer looks great. The cinematography is pretty cool. The story's still a little thin. The acting is still kind of mid, kind of subpar. But god damn, does that Daft Punk soundtrack slap. Kind of in the same way the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack absolutely honks for Tron Ares. But what I'm saying is I finally had a good experience with the movie, and I finally clicked with it watching it outside of the third dimension. So I wonder if I revisit Avatar and or The Way of Water, just watching it flat on Disney Plus, what my experience would be like. I would be kind of interested to experience that. But the other thing that we didn't really have the opportunity to talk about just due to time, because I mean we basically kind of snuck into the studio on our lunch break. But the other things I wanted to touch on that was kind of unique to our theatrical experience going to see Avatar: Fire and Ash in an IMAX auditorium on opening day and all of that. We were treated to a couple different things. One, we got to see the IMAX exclusive prologue opening to Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And since then, they've since dropped a trailer, and there are parts of that trailer that's running in front of screens now, and you can watch it online. There's stuff in that trailer that wasn't in the bit that we saw. Basically, the segment that we saw, it runs just over 5 minutes, and it is a straight on scene. Now it ends with a trailer because it gets kind of montagey and brings in titles and things like that. But basically what it showcases is the whole sequence with the Trojan horse. And like the Trojan horse is like stuck in the beach in the low tide in the surf, and how like there's dudes hiding inside the horse, and how they need to be quiet, and then how once the Trojan horse is brought in, how it basically turns into a Metal Gear Solid level where Matt Damon and his Trojans need to go on like a stealth mission and just start sniping fools and stuff. It's breathtaking. And I tweeted about this. After sitting through 3.5 hours of Avatar: Fire and Ash, the only thing I could think of was the Odyssey trailer. Like that 5 minutes really stuck with me. And it was fascinating. When you see something on opening day and you see something that's truly like an exclusive, like this prologue is only running in front of exclusive IMAX screenings of Avatar: Fire and Ash. So it's not every theater. It has to be specifically IMAX. And it was cool to see that and to experience that early. And then the discourse caught up. Like when they released the trailer, there's some character. I don't I don't know my Greek mythology as well as I should. But there is a character. Oh man, I should know his name off the top of my head, but he's this big Darth Vader looking dude. Like literally has like jet black armor, and he's got like some other he's got like a cape and like a spinal column on the back of his helmet and all that stuff. It's in the poster. And I remember people being so shitty about it, and people dogging on Christopher Nolan's quote unquote lack of historical accuracy. Like, oh man, well those costumes wouldn't be appropriate to the period or whatever. To which really the only answer I could give to that is like, well, one, it's mythology. It's Greek mythology. It's a myth. But also, you can't really quibble about costumes and other things when there's a goddamn Cyclops. Like, I mean, you see like the Cyclops, and he's like an ogre man with like one eye and stuff. Literally a mythical creature. So I don't want to see people on Twitter.com bitching about quote unquote historical accuracy. Save it. But that Odyssey is filmed 100% on IMAX film cameras, and it is built for IMAX exhibition. That is the preferred format, and in that aspect ratio, and with that experience. So seeing that was truly breathtaking, and it took a movie that I was kind of lukewarm about to now something that I am very, very interested in now that I've gotten like an extended taste of what it's going to be. I also said on Twitter, it kind of reminds me of, because Christopher Nolan has done this a number of times where, because he, IMAX is his preferred format. He likes those cameras. He likes the film and all that. But like, I remember when they ran, I don't remember what movie it was in front of, but they ran like the first 5 minutes of The Dark Knight. And then they ran like the first 5 minutes of The Dark Knight Rises. And I don't think I actually saw Dark Knight in IMAX, but I did see Rises. And like I said, I can't remember what movie it was in front of, something unremarkable. It's going to come to me. But it's the plane sequence. It's like it's Bane and he's like, yes, and crashing this plane and all that. And I just, even like getting that taste of it, even though you couldn't hear a goddamn thing Bane was saying, that feel of awe and breathtaking is, something that you only kind of get from a Christopher Nolan IMAX movie, that kind of thing. So anyway, I'm super stoked for the Odyssey, and more than that, I think seeing that special prologue extra footage made the price of admission worth it. And again, like I said, now that I've been sitting with Avatar: Fire and Ash for a while, I think it's resonating with me a little more than it used to. Also, I'm in another tangent, but I think we measure pop culture relevance through memes and fan art. And you could scroll through any social media platform, and for the first time ever, Avatar has kind of hit the zeitgeist because like there's several sequences that have become memes and has been made into fan art. Kind of reminded me of Predator Badlands a little bit. When you started seeing shippy style art of Deck and Thea and so anyway, so I thought that was interesting, and this seems to be the one that's resonating in a way that perhaps the other two aren't. The other thing that doesn't have to do with the movie in the category of trailers, we saw the first trailer for Avengers Doomsday, and I don't know. It's difficult for me, increasingly so now, to muster up enthusiasm for these Avengers movies. Like I'm sure I will go see Doomsday. I'm not gonna put a stick in the sand and say, hell no, I'm not gonna go. That's absurd. I think the last time I did that was Transformers: The Last Night, and actually that seemed to work out okay because that ended up being the last Michael Bay movie. So I was thinking that what me and my friends did in deciding to not go see that movie had some kind of effect. I don't think that's going to be the same thing here, but the trailer we saw, and this will be some mild spoilers for the array of Avengers Doomsday trailers, because as of this recording, there are 3 official ones and a 4th one that has been leaked. But if history has taught me anything, it is like, yeah, that 4th one will very likely actually be the authentic 4th trailer. So, oh gosh, I don't remember when the leaks first came around, but like on Twitter, there were a couple different I mean, a wide variety of all kinds of crazy leaks. Some were satire, some were parody, but the thing that you saw over and over was this Captain America one that would say, like, Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. And then later on, you would there was a Thor one running around as well. And I remember, like, folks had, I mean, this is before Christmas, where by some accounts, people had seen the trailer and, like, used AI tools to essentially recreate the trailer. And basically what the trailer shows is, a mysterious figure rolls up on a motorcycle in some, idyllic Midwestern type of setting. May as well be Clark Kent living on the Kent farm in Kansas, that type of setting. And he gets off the motorcycle. He sets a red, white, and blue America-themed helmet and goes inside. And this fella has a baby in his arms. Camera pans up. Uh-oh, it's Chris Evans. And he is Captain America or something. No, I think even before they show the baby, doesn't he like mess around with his costume or something? I think he like literally picks up like the Captain America costume and like folds it and puts it in a drawer or some nonsense like that. And then anyway, holds a baby and says Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Endgame. I wish. Avengers Doomsday. I was so convinced that trailer, the leaks I had seen, the AI recreations, which actually after seeing the trailer, I don't think that was AI recreations. They were just straight up rips and leaks. Anyway, I was so convinced that what I had been seeing on social media was fake that I was almost mad when I actually saw the actual trailer, because I am disappointed but not surprised that the way Marvel is trying to fix their future is by looking to the past. And I'm annoyed that they are so creatively bankrupt that the only solution that they can think of is dusting off these old characters that they so perfectly crossed off. It's like, or more accurately, that they get satisfying endings. I mean, Captain America goes back in time, gets his one dance with Peggy Carter, and I mean that dude had two huge reasons to go back in time. Let me tell you. And the thing that's frustrating about all this is that they're relying on nostalgia because that's all they got. And in doing so, they end up undoing at least 5 to 6 years worth of story. Captain America goes back in time, gets with Peggy, stays long enough to where he grows old and becomes Joe Biden, and hands the shield off to Sam. Sam Wilson, the Falcon, is now Captain America. And all of the story and marketing and everything was so emphatic about that, but audiences really didn't take to it for a variety of reasons. Some are more bigoted than others. But here's the deal. I mean, I like Anthony Mackie fine, but I did not particularly enjoy that Captain America Brave New World movie. I did like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, later Captain America and the Winter Soldier show, even though it was hamstrung and diced up and all of that. But the dynamic between Sam and Bucky was pretty cool. And so when he shows up at the end of that show in the Captain America outfit with the Falcon wings and the shield, it's like, okay, cool. This is Captain America. That's fine. But now, 5-6 years later, it's like, well, maybe not. And I don't like that. Now, it does say Steve Rogers will return, not Captain America will return, which I think was wise on their part. We'll see what happens. But like, I also kind of feel misled, and it's so funny because I've pointed this out a few times, and people always laugh at me and kind of make fun of me a little bit for being naive. But like, anytime like filmmakers lie to me, like Chris Evans has said many times, I'm done as Captain America. I don't want to do Captain America anymore. I want to do other stuff. You know, I'm gonna get on my cable knit sweater and be in Knives Out, and you know, and God knows what else. I don't know. I feel it's disingenuous and insincere. Maybe that's something sensitive about me, where I just don't like being lied to by filmmakers. So like the Russo brothers have said the same. Oh, no, Chris Evans is not in it. You know, Sam Wilson is Captain America, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I feel being lied to. So my feeling for Avengers Doomsday, just kind of like as a concept, as a thing that's going to happen to us, I don't know, since the Jonathan Majors of it and pivoting away from Kang and towards Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, I don't care. And so what started though as a lack of interest. So it started as a lack of interest, but with this barrage of trailers, it's gone from disinterest to apathy. But now with this series of trailers, it's turned into contempt. I have active contempt for this cash grab continuation of the Marvel Universe. So we'll see how it goes. It's probably gonna make $1 billion. But the second trailer has to do with Thor, and again, it's like they've taken all of the Taika Waititi Ragnarok, Love and Thunder, jokey Thor. You know, Thor is fat no more, and he's just back to being earnest. I mean, it's like, and that's the thing. All of the characters have taken a slide backwards. You know, Steve Rogers, who was so content to leave the superhero life behind him and finally have something for himself. You know, it really kind of reminds me of that one Mark Waid comic page that Captain America comic page I've talked about 1,000 times. Like, you know, oh, Captain America is, you know, sacrificed for the greater good more times than he can count, and you know, he's never asked for anything in return. But sometimes fate gives something back. You know, fate has always taken, it's never given anything back. Sometimes fate gives something back. And that's how I kind of felt about where Steve Rogers ends at the end of Endgame, having reemerged as Joe Biden. But anyways, you know, and the third trailer, which just officially dropped very recently, features some incredibly old men. They dusted off Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart, reprising once again as Magneto and Professor X, respectively. Presumably one last time. I think Patrick Stewart has said that he's retired from acting after this. And that's going to be especially sad because now we're going to see this guy die on screen for the fourth time. Do you know that Professor X has died 4 times? That's and you know, I mean, obviously these two guys are legends, but they're so old. And I can't get excited about that. I mean, like, it isn't even Fassbender and McAvoy. It's not even we've totally forgotten about the X-Men First Class reboot characters. That was the whole point, was to young them up, so that you could still do stuff like this. And the filmmaking is so bad that like Patrick Stewart has to have a jacket with a X-Men logo on it, just so you know who they are, and that it's not just two random old people playing chess. But the coup de grace, the climax of this dumb third trailer, and I'm getting way off topic here. I'm supposed to be talking about Avatar, but they show James Marsden as Cyclops in the X-Men 97 outfit. And it's just like, I think that's supposed to make me feel something, but I don't feel anything other than empty. And because it's just it's so blatant. It's so cynical. It's so hollow and insincere. And I don't know. I don't like it. And the fourth trailer is has to do with other characters. And I mean, I'll give you a quick spoiler warning. Jump ahead like 50 seconds. Give it 2 jumps. 30, depending upon what your podcatcher is. But it catches up with Shuri, the Black Panther, and the world of Wakanda. And you deal with Namor, the Submariner, and oops, the Fantastic Four also. So it says like the Fantastic Four and the Wakandans will return in Avengers Doomsday. And again, I don't care. I just don't care. Again, my apathy is turned into contempt. And but anyway, that movie's gonna make $1 billion. It doesn't matter if it's it's a cynical cash grab, and it's gonna grab that cash. But hey, speaking of, I'd also like to note that in the time since I've seen Avatar: Fire and Ash, and when I've been able to record this episode, the movie Avatar, has grossed $1 billion at the box office. It's crossed the $1 billion mark. That's obviously a billion with a B, proving once again that the boycott is indeed working and Disney is reeling. Good job, chuds. Morons. This, according to The Guardian, the film, which hit theaters in late December 2025, reached the monumental milestone after just its third weekend in release. That's about 18 days on screens worldwide. According to studio estimates, it stands at approximately $1.083 billion globally, with strong international performance driving the numbers over 777 million from overseas markets and around 306 domestically. This marks the third consecutive Avatar film to surpass $1 billion, joining the original 2009 blockbuster and 2022's Avatar: The Way of Water. Together, the trilogy has now grossed more than $6.35 billion worldwide. And here's a historic note for director James Cameron. Fire and Ash makes it his fourth film overall to hit the $1 billion club, following Titanic and the first Avatar, as well as The Way of Water. No other director, not Steven Spielberg, not George Lucas, not Christopher Nolan, no other director has achieved 4 billion-dollar hits in a row like this. The movie opened with a solid $340 million globally, but like its predecessor, built momentum over time through premium formats, word of mouth, and extended theatrical runs, as well as lack of competition. Analysts now predict it can climb towards $1.7 billion or even approach the $2 billion mark territory that the earlier entries reached, even though it remains the slowest of the $3 to $1 billion so far. For James Cameron, this success is a huge relief. He'd previously warned that if Fire and Ash bombed, the planned Avatar 4 and 5 might never make it to the big screen, and instead could end up as novels. Now, I don't know if you saw this on social media. I'm really kind of like hot and cold in terms of how I feel about James Cameron as a filmmaker, but also just kind of as a person. There are times I find his arrogance endearing, other times less so. But he's been saying for years with all of this stuff, like, oh man, I'm going to make 2 sequels. Well, now shoot, I'm going to make 2 more sequels, and then with The Way of Water, he said, well, if Way of Water doesn't do well, I can wrap it up in part 3, which we filmed back to back and is basically done, so I could put a bow on it. And to its credit, Fire and Ash does kind of wrap it up. I get the feeling when we get to 4 and 5, there's going to be a significant time jump, and they're probably going to make them, 4 and 5 back to back, kind of the same way that 2 and 3 were. But anyway, he kind of posted on social media. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll issue a press conference to kind of talk about the plot lines that weren't resolved in Fire and Ash. He posted later something to the effect of like, well, I want to write them as novels, but nobody reads. And it's one of those things where on one hand, it kind of stings, but on the other hand, he's kind of not wrong. Like, would you read novelizations of Avatar 4 and 5? Because I promise you, I would not. But anyway, he had said that he would do those as novels. With scripts already complete and parts of Avatar 4 filmed, this billion-dollar triumph strongly suggests the saga will continue. Again, this is from the article from The Guardian. As one report put it, the Avatar films have a signature pattern. Steady openings followed by glacial but massive long-term earnings. Glacial, I see what you did there. Proving skeptics wrong time and again. So Pandora's story isn't over yet. Avatar Fire and Ash is still playing in theaters worldwide. So grab your 3D glasses if you have not seen it! This is a major win for Hollywood, kicking off 2026 after a tougher 2025 at the box office. And with that will wrap things up for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with me for my first episode of 2026. I promise it will not be the last. And if you want more Mike Seibert Radio, be sure and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. And for even more Transformers, check out our other show, Two Mikes, Too Furious, where Michael Andrews and I review Transformers Animated 1 episode at a time. I really should change that copy because that is not the case anymore. We are exploring the world of Transformers Animated beyond the original 42 episodes with behind-the-scenes interviews and more. So check that out. Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you like and what you'd like to hear more of in the future. For my guest, Camaro Kev from Stack of Dimes, my name is Mike. This has been Mike Seibert Radio, and until next time, till all are one, make good choices and fuck ice. Mike Seibert Radio is recorded in Seattle, Washington. Our original theme song is written and performed by Lucia Fasano. Get her music on all streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, and check out her Instagram at Lucia_Fasano. Our closing theme is A Nice Place to Visit by These Young Fools, used with permission from Michael Geissler. Check out Michael's website, bytourmusic.com, for more music like it. Special thanks to Andy Lita for our logos and graphic design. He is at GoGoAndyRobo. Become a Mike Cybertronian and join the MSRP Friends and Fans Facebook group. And you can follow me on social media at Mike Seibert Radio on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And check out my YouTube channel for even more videos, and subscribe so you never miss a show and don't miss Two Mikes, Too Furious animated Transformers. Want to be a guest on the show? Send me an email, MikeSeibertRadio@gmail.com.